Well folks, the slates are all on, as you'll have seen. But we still have the matter of getting the staging down, and when that happens, obviously the roof irons come out and you're left with a hole. And as one of the folks on here asked in one of the comments, John Rimmer, what happens to the holes? So I thought the easiest way to explain that is to film it. So I've got to get all of these battens off from underneath first. Here are the timbers that I screw on underneath the iron into the board just to clamp it all down hard so nothing moves once you're on it. Fairly important part of the job as far as I'm concerned. I'll be so glad when all this up and down is finished. We're so close now. This question is, can I reach this? I think I probably can. That off. Let's see whether I can lift this off. It's going to be a stretch. Oh, fingertip job. It'd be nice to get it off from this end because then I can lower it down without dragging it over too much of the irons. Can't get it up and forward at the same time. Oofed. And what I've got to be careful of now is I don't break a slate. That we don't want. I still prefer to take it down the other end. It's a jolly heavy bit of timber, this. There we go. Good. I meant to bring my big hammer up here to get these irons out, but I forgot, so hopefully the camera's going to wobble now. Hopefully my roofing hammer will be big enough to get them out. That's your answer. Yes, it is. So now, move the camera. So now we have two holes, well, two gaps for slate. So hopefully these ones will just lift up and slide away, yeah, like that. One will go in there, and then the next one's going to go in here, so we want that one out of the way as well. And that one. I've got a couple of slates I cut to the right size a little while ago here. Hopefully, anyway. Yeah, there we go. That one goes in there. That one back round. And we're probably going to have to move that one as well. There we go. I'll make an extra hole in that one in the middle so I can get to it. Could have got to the other one anyway, but never mind. A bit of a stretch. There we go. Pull that round. Pull that round. There you go. You never know, would you? That's the beauty of the slates that have only got one nail in them. You can swing them out the way. You can't do that with the Spanish stuff because the Spanish is nailed with 2 nails. So when I put this one up, I was careful that I put the slating iron in next to a row that had got 3 nails in. That meant the next 2 rows above I could get out of the way, and then the one above that, which should have 3 nails in, I didn't put 3 nails in that individual slate. The rest of the row will have had it, but it just meant I could slide these out of the way enough to get the slates in and nailed. So there you go, John, that's how you do that. Got another 2 on this from this platform to do, then 2 and 2 to do. So I'll get them done over the next little while. Hopefully that's the last of the roof I have to do. That would be nice. I've got one slate on the front that's obviously the nail hole's broken and it's slipped out, so I've got to sort that out. Hopefully I can do a similar thing to this, just slide some out of the way. But there we go. Easy as that. Roof is done. We started on the 1st of May. That was the day I started stripping the first slates. And it's now April 14th, I think. And we're done. Good stuff. Hello folks, It feels strange starting a video, or a bit of a video, I don't know if this is a start or not, inside and not on the roof. It's nice. It's strange. Strange not coming out every day and just thinking, oh, I better get up on the roof. So just a completely different mindset now. And when I was on the roof, there was only sort of one thing to think about really, but now I'm inside, loads to think about. And one of the problems is that, and I think probably the hardest part of these kind of jobs is that you've got to plan for stuff way ahead of when you're going to do it. So for example, down here, this is where the main door is going to be. And when I laid the concrete, after that epic dig out of the floor, I had to decide how far out I was going to concrete. So, and looking down at what I did at the floor, I've left about a foot. I put in this piece of timber just to be the edge that the concrete went against. I've left about a foot from that to the outside of the wall. So now I'm trying to marry up my thoughts now with what my thoughts were back then. But I think I probably got it about right. I don't even remember, but I took a load of stones out of what we call the grip, which was the kind of sluice that ran through the middle of the section of this building, was where the cows stayed. There's like a sluice, they call it a grip. Interestingly, in the east side of Scotland, they called it a gripe. So I've sorted through those stones, and I'm going to reuse those stones as sills on both of these, well, all of these openings. The full height window, this door, and then this window, which is going to be built up. The wall's going to be built up before the window goes in. So I think I'm going to put the door back about a foot, and then the stone sill will be about a foot wide, and that will just about meet the concrete, which is where I've now got to lay blocks, and these blocks have got to be finished at finished floor height, which will leave me 2 meters. The doors that are going in here are 2 meters tall, so I want to leave myself an opening of 2 meters and 5 mil, 2005. So these blocks are really important, and then once I've laid these ones in this doorway, I've then got to do the same in the other doorways. Certainly the stable, the full height window is going to be slightly different for a different reason, and that reason is that we're going to have a section of cobbled floor in there, in that little bit of floor there. So that's a different story. But I need 2 meters and 5 opening height. So this is quite important to get this bit right, but that's the sort of thing I have to think about now. Just things that are set in stone, if you like. You know, you've got to get them right. So, and I don't know about you, but quite often, if I've got a problem, you can't always solve it straight away, and somehow I find I solve them without thinking about them. Because I was thinking about this all day yesterday as I was doing stuff, and then just kind of put it to the back of my mind. Today I've come out and there's an amount of clarity about it, even though I've not really thought about it. It just seems your subconscious does this thing where it works stuff out for you in the background, which is handy. Anyway, so I'm going to get these blocks cut down to the right height, because a full block is too high, and then get this first lot laid. And once that's done, I'm going to have to get a laser level to make sure all the other blocks are at the same height. Hope that all makes sense. I'm going to go and fry my brain. Right, well those are in and levelled, and now I want to put the blockwork through this opening. I would preferably be doing that with a rotary laser level and a receiver on a staff. When I did the concrete in, I borrowed that from a friend of mine, and I'm going to get hold of that again, but I can't get it for a couple of days, and I just want to get on, so I'm improvising. So the good old Lasgu laser level is out again. There's a little trick I saw, because it has a magnetic bracket. So I've clamped an old saw to the bit of stud work there, and then I've put the bracket on, and the bracket is sticking obviously to the saw with the magnet. So I've now got a level line sitting right on the top edge of that blockwork over there, and with the laser set up, that's now shooting across onto here as well. It's very faint in this daylight, unfortunately, but so I can't really see it on the block. Well, I put a piece of wood there and I can see it on the piece of wood, so that's a bit of an improvisation until I get the rotary laser level. But once again, the little Lasgu unit has proven to be a handy little thing. So I just got to cut a bunch more blocks down to size, and then I'm going to start laying them as well. It's a bit unorthodox, but it should work. You won't be able to see it, but I can just see the laser line on that piece of wood. So I'm going to level the end of the block to that. And actually I can just see the laser line on there, on the top edge of that block. See if it disappears and I've gone too low. You know what, I think that's worked out all right. Just want to check that that's in line with the rest of the block work. So I'll come around a little bit. I'll say that's pretty good. So what I'll do now is I'll fix another one at the other end, again using that board to give me the level, so where I can see the laser, and then I can just go between the two with a level or a string line. So that's worked quite nicely. So what's the chances of that being level then? I'll put that across. Just to prove the system works. Is that close enough for us? So now I can just lay between those two and we should be nice and level. Hello folks, well I've got all the block work down now. That's going to be the big window. This is the front door, or the main door, which probably won't be the main door. if you know what I mean. We'll use the door at the end more often. This one's a little bit different, as you'll see. It's a lot lower. That's going to be a full height window. I'll explain that in a minute. And this is the door into the utility room, which is going to be a stable door, and this will be a boot room as well. So this is kind of going to be the main door, I think. Anyway, you'll have seen previously that I've got the Lasgu laser level, and Lasgu have also sent me a receiver for that laser as well now, which looks like this. Get it in the light. There we go. And basically that picks up the signal from the laser, and it comes with a clamp which I've put on my level. I mean, you can get fancy styles with measuring scales on, but you don't need all that bit of kit. You can just use a level. So I'll show you what I've done. So the laser comes with a little bracket. Stop it. The laser comes with a bracket which is magnetic, so you can stick it onto any metal surface, well, you know, steel or iron. So I've got that up on the acro prop there, because from there I've got a clear line of sight to that far door, which isn't easy in this building, and to the central window, and obviously to these two. I laid these blocks first in the doorway, and then once they were laid to the height I wanted, I set the laser so that when the level is sitting on the blockwork, that is set to the height of the laser. So then I can check all the other levels. When there's a fast beep, it's too low. When there's a slow beep, it's too high. The difference between the two is 2 millimeters. So anywhere between those two, and if you're absolutely bang on, it's just a constant tone. So easily close enough. Within 2 millimeters, that, which for floor screed over that distance is great. And then at this end, hopefully we can get the same. There you go. So those three are level. Now, I plan to do something a bit quirky in this doorway. Can you stop bleeping now? Thank you. In this doorway, we've got a bit of a plan for the floor here. If you remember way back, we had a cobbled floor, which we had to get rid of in order to meet building regs, which was a real shame. And right from the start, I thought I'm going to have to reuse the cobble somehow. So this section of floor, we're going to put a cobble section back, which is going to involve cutting the tops off of some selected cobbles. Now I've already had a go at one, and here we go. That's the cobble, and that's the top that I've cut off. Which works quite nicely. So I've got an inch thickness of cobble. So I'm going to carefully select from the pile we took out cobbles that will meet nicely, cut them to an inch thick, and then they're going to get laid on top of the screed here, and then we're going to have a sheet of glass over the top of it. So it will look like the original floor is still there, down below the existing floor. We're just investigating the glass alternatives at the moment, but I think that's going to be really nice. And for that reason, this blockwork is a bit lower, because the screed in this section needs to be about 2 inches lower than everywhere else to allow for the thickness of the cobble and for the glass. That's why that's lower. So simply, in order to get that height, all we've done is move the laser up 50 mil. So I just mark a line on the level, mark another line 50 mil up, move the clamp up. That gives you a 50 mil drop on the blocks. So brilliant, nice little bit of kit that. Really easy to use, and you don't need loads of gear, just one of them and your laser level. I'll put links in the description, and I'll put a discount code on there for both items. And I have to say, this is all new to us. Since we put out our time-lapse video in January this year, we've started getting offers of stuff because the viewership has gone up, etc. And some companies are just, you just wonder who on earth you're talking to. But Lasgo have been brilliant. They respond to everything really quickly. And if they're doing that for us, they're going to do it for their customers. So, highly recommended. Great bit of kit, and it would appear a really good company. So, the next job that I need to attend to, because excitingly, we're ready to start putting Celotex down on the floor, the PIR insulation, ready for screeding. But obviously, before I do that, I've got to get rid of these acros which are holding the roof up over this opening, which has got to be rebuilt. So I've got to move the acros into the doorway so they're not on the floor, otherwise I can't get the Celotex down. So I've cut myself a big chunk of wood. It's an offcut from one of the old roof joists. It's actually one that didn't cut very well on the sawmill, and it's a bit of a rhomboid. So is that the right word? Rhomboid? Rhombus or rhomboid? What's the difference between a rhombus and a rhomboid? I think a rhombus is kind of like almost towards a diamond, and a rhomboid maybe is an irregular shape. Anyway, somebody tell me what the difference is, please. So yeah, I'm going to screw that. Hopefully, I've got a screw in place. I'm going to screw that up to one of the rafters there, so it should hold long enough for me to get that acro in the middle, and then I can take these two down and then get them in there, and then the middle one will come back out, because I don't want it all sitting on one acro. And a little shout out to Andy Nation, my cousin, for giving me the acros when I was down there. They've come in dead handy. I'd have struggled without them. Right, there we go. Who knows what'll happen? Ooh, looking hopeful. Yes. Good, good.